Hello guys, welcome to Engine Talks. In this episode, we welcome Mr. Melich Seefeldt, Executive Director of VIA SOLUTIS and global thought leader in 2G biofuels, SAF, e-fuels and hydrogen. With over 2 decades of experience bridging technology, innovation and large-scale commercialization, Melich has been forefront of transforming renewable energy into investable and scalable solutions. From shaping Praj in European renewable strategy to advising governments, investors, and project developers across the continents. His expertise lies in solving the two biggest challenges of energy transition. First one is brilliant technologies that don't scale up, and second one is ambitious projects that don't close. So there are few key themes of this episode. Uh, in this overall episode, Melik will drive us through these key things related to sustainable aviation fuels, e-fuels, and hydrogen, turning innovation into execution and execution into investment, structuring FYK and FNK projects up to FID, and insight from his upcoming book, Bankability by Design, and many more. So don't miss this engaging conversation with true industry transformers. So, Melik, I have first question for you. Could you please share your professional journey and how you became involved in renewable fuels and low carbon technologies?
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to take part in one of your interviews. As you know, I have a very special relationship to India, as I have
Yeah,
worked for Praj for a while. And I can tell you at Praj, I was maybe not the only non-Indian colleague, but most of my colleagues were Indian. So it was a very special time for me. So you ask for my journey I took professionally. And, you know, I have become an engineer basically because of love. Yeah. So my father, he has been a welding engineer. He took much pride in basically shaping metals, creating buildings, and basically my father drew me into engineering. Then at the end of my studies, I wrote a book. It's called or it is a book on project management. And then, to my surprise, this book landed on the book on the table of a board member of a major EPC player. Yeah. And I started out actually developing giant petrochemical plants. Yeah. Um, so that was basically the fossil-based world where I started. Then I met my Brazilian wife. We moved to São Paulo in Brazil, and for around about 5 years, I had the opportunity to develop sugar ethanol plants. Yeah, so they were producing 250 million liters of ethanol per year. We're costing $250 million per year, and so I learned a lot. And this is also where, at that time, my twins were born, yeah? Isabella and Leonardo. And that was going along with the Kyoto Protocol at that time. And you could see that the world is starting to take care and think of the environmentals. Then came the Paris Agreement, 2015. It was a turning point for me. So I moved from 1G ethanol to 2G ethanol. I thought, hey, Melich, you're going to double it now. You're going to see how you can save even more CO2 and improve the footprint. And that basically moved me to Clariant. Yeah, Clariant has a 2G technology, which is very similar, or is a competitor of the technology of Praj. And I was developing and commercializing this technology all over the world. Yeah, so America, in Europe, in Asia. And then came the next steps. That was to move to Copenhagen to work for a Danish company called Novozymes. Novozymes is the world leader in industrial enzymes. And at this time, I was responsible for 1G and 2G ethanol. And I met my former colleagues from Praj, all over the world, you can say. Kuala Lumpur, Delhi, Chicago, Budapest. And then eventually we got together, and I've become responsible for presenting a Praj in Europe, yeah, for building up those new technologies, these brilliant new technologies that Praj has been developing in the area and for the market of low carbon fuels in Europe.
Okay. So you mentioned that you wrote the book when you are in college. Could you please uh, give some brief about that book and what is the motivation to write that?
To write the book, yes. So I have at that time I was financing my studies. I have worked for several construction companies, and you could see that they were constructing fantastic buildings, but it has been an industry which was not extremely profitable, to say the margins were very low. And you could see that a big part contributing where you had improvement potential was the project management. So I have then visited a lot of construction companies, and you could see a very open mind, a will to improve themselves. And I could find out together with them where are certain weaknesses that can be improved in project management.
Okay. So my next one is what inspired your transition from technology-driven roles to commercialization and investment structuring?
Mm. Yeah, that's a very good question, especially because I wanted to start and become always an engineer, because otherwise I would have studied economy. Huh? So you know what I found extremely interesting was that you have new unproven technologies in low carbon fuels, technologies that are disruptive. The plants, they have never ever been built before. Yeah, for example, in sustainable aviation fuel, in advanced bioethanol. So there are numerous e-fuels, for example. Yeah, never ever been built. even, the whole value chain from getting the feedstock, from the technologies, via general contractors to off-takers, this whole value chain, it is almost non-existent. So I thought, man, this is so interesting. You want to do this. But I've been sitting then in R&D meetings for pilot plans, in engineering teams to plan the demo. And then everybody was talking about, yay, the technology works. This is how we build the plant. And then you started a conversation about how are we going to finance the 250 million euros for such a massive plant? What are the risks? What is the regulation? And then there's silence. That's very difficult to answer, because in the same way you have developed a new technology. On the other hand, you have not developed everything commercial or financial behind it. So you could see with a lot of technologies, the bottleneck itself was not the technology or only the technology. It was more how can we finance it? How can we make it bankable? What are the risks? How are we going to manage the risks? How can we build partnerships? And then I thought that is not that is a question of many other functions. So in order to develop such a project, you need to be an engineer. The next day, you are a banker. You talk to the banks, you talk to the investors. The next day, you are a lawyer. You sit over contracts. You say, this is a licensing contract, this is a general contractor, this is an engineering contract. And I found this extremely interesting and exciting, to move beyond and to learn, move beyond of what I've done. This is how it went into commercial. Actually, it's not only commercial, So you do regulation, you do permitting, of course you do engineering, you do IP, you do financial modeling. So it's a
It's
lot of
like
disciplines,
setting up the company.
Exactly. You're setting up a company.
Yeah.
And it's not a small company. So if you have a project like the one of Praj, for example, the plan in Panipat, that is several hundreds of millions. Not in kroner, but in dollar or in euros. That's a big company you set up.
Yeah. Could you please tell us about the VIA SOLUTIS and its
Mhm,
mission, and
mhm,
what motivated you to start your own venture?
mhm. Yes. Okay. So, I've been in the business for over 25 years. I have commercialized several technologies, from being your baby, coming from the lab to becoming a teenager in the demo plant, and then basically becoming a large-scale plant. And as I said, the technology, the engineering, it needs to be improved, but you are on track. But most of the technologies, they have failed less for technology reasons, but more for commercial reasons. So the barriers were commercial. And so some are internally, because often you have bright engineers, like I have been, not bright, I've not been bright, but you have engineers who develop technically a technology, and they need support, specific support business-wise. And And this support to commercialize a new technology, that you see very often missing. Yeah. So how do I do a business strategy at the beginning of my technology? Yeah. Do I want to license the technology? Do I want to build my own plants and produce? Do I want to sell my technology off? So you need to focus. So you need to have a strategy. Yeah. So and as you climb up the technical development, you have to climb up the commercial development, and that it is not rare that this is treated a bit as a stepchild. Yeah. So all the points I have told, they're very specific legal, financial models, the strategy, and so. But they are the base besides the technology, because you have not only technical demands, but you have stakeholder investors, banks, uh, uh, partners, and they want to see the commercial base. Yeah, and this is missing in a lot of projects. And for example, that is number one, when you commercialize the technology. And then the king's discipline, that is when you have a demo and then you go to a large scale commercial plant. Yeah, that is, let's say, 50 times bigger than your demo plant. Yeah, for example, the one of Clariant, the demo plant was producing 1,000 tons of advanced ethanol in the demo plant, and was scaled up to 50,000 tons. Yeah, that is something totally different, and you need to develop such a project. And that is, as you said, developing a large company, and in an area, in a business that does not exist, where the value chain doesn't exist, the off-takers have never bought this, the banks have never financed this, the feedstock providers, for example, in Panipat, the farmers who have never delivered their rice straw to industrial customers, but instead have burned it. For everyone, this business is a first of its kind, first of a new kind. Yeah, and people are not prepared for this. There are not many people who have done that, and I have done this my whole career, and I'm very glad to share this experience. And this is what I do with VIA SOLUTIS. Yeah, we commercialize non-proven technologies. So we bring them. You have probably heard about the Valley of Death. Yeah, so we bring them across the valley, and we develop first of its kind plans, basically from feasibility to FID. FID is the final investment decision. Yeah, so I say we help them to go over the line in this, and so I have called this via solutis, and that is Latin. Via means the way, and solutis is the solution. So it's the way to the solution. We want to help our clients to take the way and to take it together as partners. Yeah? And this is what VIA SOLUTIS is about.
Mm. You often say that brilliant technology don't scale and ambitious project don't close. Do you have any example or do you have any history behind this setting these taglines?
Yeah. So this is related to the fact that we live in a extremely progressing society, in many things, extremely accelerating, especially technology-wise, and especially in green technology. And so there are so many great technologies in low carbon fuels, also in low carbon materials, where we can replace fossils, yeah. And those technologies are brilliant, it's brilliant done by brilliant people. So, for example, there's a extremely amazing biotechnology science in India. So you have amazing scientists. I've got to know you have amazing engineers. Yeah. So when you have those technologies, then I talked to a finance minister of Sweden. He told me, look, you have so great young horses, yeah, that run to a river, and we help them. We support them with a lot of finance, uh, uh, making them strong. But only a few of those brilliant horses, they make it over the river, and they become strong horses. Yeah, and this is why I say there are so many brilliant technologies that do not scale. And there are so many of their first of its kinds projects that unfortunately fail. Yeah, of course, there are exceptions. You see the Parch plants in India, the 2G plants, for example, of IOCL, BPCL, HPCL. You see Neste, who in CEF has created the first of its kind leading plants. So yeah, uh, it is, and it will change. It is going to change. The brilliant technology, they will scale.
But they need VIA SOLUTIS like
They what?
support for this.
Yes. So I'm supporting them with things I have ever always done. That there are not many people who have commercialized new, spearheading, non-validated, non-proven technologies. And there are many who have developed solar parks, wind parks that has become a regular renewable development of
Mm.
projects. But a project where there's no value chain, there's no technologies, the customer have not their own business plans, that doesn't exist very often. And I've done that now for over 20 years, and I have gotten my scars. You can imagine a lot of things go wrong, and you learn from it. And I bring this experience to the market, yeah, in Europe, in Americas, and I hope also in India soon.
Yeah. So, from your perspective, what makes renewable energy projects bankable?
Mm. Yeah. So, well, we need to see what is bankable. What you want to reach is that you get a project finance. Project
Yeah.
finance means that a majority of the total investment costs, they are coming or are financed by a bank. The more conservative existing a technology is, the higher it can be. And the newer the technology is, it is extremely challenging, if not partially impossible. So if you want to have, let's say, 50% debt, 50% equity, and you have the senior lender, the first thing he looks at is how will be the revenues in the future. And don't forget, you develop a project, you start developing today for something that is going to work, hopefully, is going to work in 3-4 years after development and construction. So you have to make the banker believe there will be a market, there will be a demand, there will be a good price for this. That's the first thing every banker looks at is what are the cash flows? Yeah. So where is the money coming in the future? Is it secured and such things? So that's number one. Then, of course, they want to know you take their money and let's say it's a 200 euro plant, 200 million euro plant, and you get 70% or 50% of their money, 100 million, for something that has never been built, that engineers have engineered for the first time. There has not been a learning curve, no optimization of engineering, of materials, of processes, nothing. Everything's for the first time. And they give you 100 million. They want to understand if this industrial plant, let's say the Prague plant's 25,000 KTPY of ethanol production per year, if that is really going to work in 4 or 5 years, or when it doesn't work, they lose the whole money. Yeah. So you are the lender, you have to go to your boss and say, hey, look, I lost 100 million euros or dollars because the plant we invested in, the technology didn't work at all. Yeah. And we have seen that. We have seen that in the past. In this area, companies like DuPont, Clariant, Abengoa, there's a number of them going bankrupt. There's also a number working, like Hyzen, for example. You see LanzaTech, LanzaJet, for example, Neste. So there are also a lot of good examples. But the first thing they look is the cash flows, and then is the technology, will it be working? Will I believe in this? And then the third, well, there are many, yeah? But you look at the financial model, and you see what are the parts of your cost or your income that is influencing my profitability the best, yeah, or the worst. So, and one of the biggest factors, if not the biggest factor, is the feedstock. Yeah, so the feedstock has the highest impact. So they want to know, is the feedstock secured? Yeah, what is the price? Will the price change? So if you look at Panipat, for example, the rice straw is coming from many farmers, thousands of farmers. Will this be secured? Will the quality be right? Is it going to be too dry? Is it going to be perfect? Is it going to be too wet? In the future, will the price significantly increase? So they want to know this from you. So those are basically, I would say, the top 3, yeah, that look at. Yeah.
Yes.
And if you get this straight, then you make your project bankable.
Right. So, which are the top 3 countries as per your study are ruling the global market in terms of renewables, fuels, and hydrogen ecosystem development?
Mm. Okay, okay, that is a very broad question, and um, it's not easy to answer. I can give you some ideas, maybe some thoughts, food for thoughts. I can do, and the the regional policies you get. So you were writing Europe, India, and Latin America, and you got my favorite ones, because I've been in all of those. So the policies, they are new technologies where you grow the projects, and in one soil a seed can flourish. So you have one technology that can work somewhere. So for example, you see that the alcohol to jet fuel in India or in US will be easier to come to be realized, because you can use 1G ethanol as a base, which is absolutely fantastic. And Europe has decided that you need to have advanced bioethanol to produce ATJ SAF. And that's very challenging to do if there's not much of 2G ethanol. Okay, the whole world goes for US, Brazil, India. They go for 1G. That's a good walk. But you can see now one seed can flourish in one ground, and or later flourish in the next ground. And you were mentioning those three markets. Europe, excuse me. Europe has a very strong regulation, yeah. So we have a law, a regulation. It's called RED, so RED 3, and mandates for SAF. So they give, they say to the oil majors, for example, either you produce 2030 or 5% of advanced fuels, low carbon fuels, or you get huge punishments. You get penalties. Yeah, so you can see those are obligatory mandates, very strict. Yeah? And India has fantastic guidance of the government. You know, what you guys have done is unbelievable. You know, you have grown the ethanol market to the E20, yeah, by programs that were given by your because of the promotion, yeah, but also because of resources and qualification. India basically reached or achieved in 10 years what Europe needed more than 2 decades, yeah, to get to E5, E10, and now E20, where we are not at all. And you can see that comes from the policy, yeah. And then the last one you mentioned, that is Latin America. And if we talk about fuels, and now please, all my other friends of Latin America, forgive me, but you have one giant that is, of course, Brazil. And I've lived 5 years and developed ethanol plants in Brazil. They produce over, I think, 30 billion liters of ethanol annually. That is massive. And they have a different approach. So their approach, besides the own market they have, is also to export. Yeah. So Europe is not exporting so strong. US is exporting, but so Brazil focus strongly on exporting, and you know, they have something that India also plans to introduce, and those are the flex fuel cars. Yeah, so you can you don't have E10 or E20 anymore. You go for E100. Yeah, you go to a Brazilian pump. You can take 100% of ethanol and fill inside, and this all is based on different soil. Yeah, those are the policies.
Yeah. Which are the main barriers to scale the 2G biofuels globally?
Yeah. Mhm. That is okay. So if you want to scale, you have parts that are technical, you have parts that are commercial. Yeah, that is like with every business. If you want to build a machine, the machine has to work, and when you sell it, you need to get more revenues than the machine costs. Those are the two areas. So the one is that the work on 2G ethanol, the developments have been going on for, let's say, 25 years. Yeah? And if you look at other renewable technologies that you have, for example, for solar, that's what nobody talks about. For solar, it has taken 45 years to go from a lab to being commercial. 45 years. And 2G is at 25 years, roundabout. Okay? So, of course, there is technical parts that need to be improved. The 2G is the king's discipline. You have mechanical treatments, physical. You have, for example, steam explosion. That's also physical with acids. That's chemical. You have enzymatic hydrolysis. That's biological. That's another beast you can have. Then you have the regular ethanol production. So this is extremely complex, and the nature has created plants that, for good reason, survive every wind and weather because of their consistency. Everything they have, the lignin, the cellulose, and to tear this apart and to create ethanol, biogenic CO2, and so out of it is not so easy. And still, 2G ethanol is the furthest development, besides HVO, on the furthest developed advanced biofuel. And there are a lot of things still to optimize. Yeah, there is no doubt that is the technical part. And most of the part of a technology you optimize not in a demo plant. That's very important to know, because when you build a plant that is 50 times bigger, then this is something totally different. That's actually, it doesn't have so much to do anymore with the demo plant. You have to invent the technology again, and you learn from, and you might target this question. You have to go from a first of its kind to a next of its kind plant, so replicate it, and you need to do all this learning. And this is the technical part. And the second part is that's going along. You have to become economic. Yeah. So you need to reduce the cost, get higher prices, improve the efficiency, use less energy, less water, and then your technology, your production becomes more viable. So it's the two things: technology itself, especially optimizing the larger plants, and number two is connected to it, that is the economics.
Yeah. So my next one is can sustainable aviation fuels, SAF, realistically replace fossil-based aviation fuels by next 20 or 30 years?
Mhm.
Is it
Mhm.
realistic?
Mhm. Yeah. Okay. So I can only give my personal opinion. That's a huge disclaimer. Uh, and I hope I don't get any enemies now. Uh, let me conclude from 2G ethanol to SAF. Yeah. So everybody asks, where will there be still uh, um, the combustion engines in 2050? Yeah. And of course, there will be. That's my opinion. For me, it's of course, because, for example, if you see you have a fleet, a Mercedes lasts 15 years, and you buy the last one in 2035, there will be quite a fleet still in 2050. And the question is, and that's your question, can it be possible to have so much production capacity to produce so much in 2050? And then if you look at it mathematically from where we stand now, and we're standing now at the production is compared to what is needed in the future is insignificantly. You need to, I think I have read the number, you need to increase every year the production by 30, 40, 50% every year until 2050. And maybe there is some super development in the meantime, and you should not exclude it that this will come, that you get more capacity in a faster time. But until now, from now on until then, to reach the 30 to 50% of growth every year, it seems not very likely.
So, what do investors look for before committing to any low carbon projects?
Mhm. Yeah. So it depends on many things. We have discussed a number of it already, and let me add some. So if you want to develop a project, first of its kind, never been built, and they look at the revenues, we said they look at the risk, they look at the technologies. There's one thing they look also very closely, and that is the team that is developing it. Yeah. So if they want to see, are there in those different disciplines we have talked about, engineers, operation maintenance, finance, legal, commercial. So in all those areas, are there experts with experience and knowledge, equipped with tools, and that are able to develop, and as you said, such a company, yeah, such a huge investment. And that's a point that often gets underestimated, because I'm an engineer, I'm allowed to say that, because the teams are very strongly technically driven. Okay, so but investors want to see, hey, is there someone who knows about the finance? What is realistic? How big are costs? What is realistic to create? How's the market going to look like? What strategy will I take? So that's a very important point, that they look at the right team. You know, is this team creating trust to invest so much for, and to put it in other words, to sell me something today that will maybe start working in the future, you know, will start working tomorrow.
Right. What is the difference between first of its kind and first of new
Mhm.
kind?
Mhm. Okay, so first of its kind is when you have a new technology and it's groundbreaking. You have never seen that before. As solar was once, you know, or wind was once, and now as advanced biofuels is SAF. It's you have a new technology, and you build the first commercial scale plant that is first of its kind. Now, there, everything will go wrong. Possible, you know, every nightmare of every engineer will come true. There's a nice saying, and the saying is, the saying is, it's better it's better to have the certainty over the uncertainty than the uncertainty over the certainty. So you want to try to understand as much as possible what might happen once I start on this plant, because that's uncertain. What is going to happen, you will not know. Yeah, it will be so different from what you have planned, and that is a first of its kind. Yeah, it also means, and I would like to emphasize again, it also means that you have none of the value chain. You know, it's first of the kind, as we said, for the lawyer, for the banker, everything is new. The customer who's going to build the plant, the visionary customer, often he doesn't even have his own business plan. Yeah, you help the customer to get his business plan. So there's nothing. This is why it's first of its kind. No? And then you have the so-called next of its kind or next of a kind. And when you have optimized your first plant, the first of its kind, it has been running for some years. You have optimized not only the technology, you have optimized the logistics, you have found good partners that support you. You have good relationships with your customers, the off-takers. Then you improve the whole ecology, the whole system. Yeah. And then you build the next plant, it will be much better. It will be much better. And this is the next of a kind plant. And
Yeah.
every technology goes through this. Yeah. You had this in solar, you had this in wind, you had this in nuclear. So every technology has to go this. And the big problem is that you cannot be competitive with the existing fossil fuel production because you are a baby, a teenager, you are still growing, and you compare yourself to a major who is a weightlifter, and it takes time to become a weightlifter by yourself.
Right. Currently, you're writing a book titled Bankability by Design. What is the central idea behind that book?
Yeah. So the what I'm telling you now is often very disclosed. Yeah, because it has to do with what are the weaknesses, what can we do better, why haven't we done it better, who hasn't it done so well. So it's often things people don't talk about. Yeah. And also there are not many people who can talk about because not many have developed such things. And so this book is a result of my experience. It is, you can say, the behind the scenes of such rare projects and technologies in Europe, in Asia, and Americas, where I have developed the technology. I have negotiated contracts. I was taking care of the offtakes. So I had the chance, the opportunity in my life to develop something like that end to end. And uh, and bankability is the biggest hurdle at the moment for such projects. As we have discussed before, it's very difficult to fulfill the requests and demands of the banks. Yeah. So bankability has to be planned from the day number one. You start an idea, you develop your technology, and this is what this book is describing. Yeah. So it cannot be treated as an afterthought. Yeah, you say, hey, once I have my technology ready, then I take care of finance, of commercial, and such things. So my book is not a theoretical book. You know, It's a practical guide how to realize such technologies and projects, how to license technologies, how to do the general contracts, how to do the offtake agreements, how to finance, how you do the so-called capital stacks. Yeah. So you will get to know a lot of examples from reality, from behind the scenes, and I hope, actually, I'm very confident, the book is going to help a lot of technology providers that want to commercialize their IP technology, and it's going to help a lot of project developers, yeah, to bring such amazing projects from feasibility to the final investment decision. That's the story of the book.
Right. Which innovation in low carbon fuels that excites you most nowadays?
Mhm. Okay, that is the same as 10 years ago where I started, and that is well, there are many. Yeah? Last week I went to a conference in London about e-fuels. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. This power to X. You have constellations of plants that use biomass and convert the biomass into syngas, and then from syngas further on into SAF. I mean, that's amazing, yeah. And those technologies, the projects are developing things. For years ago, uh, the banks didn't want to touch, many others they didn't want to touch, and now you see this moving, and that was last week. So I'm really fascinated by this. But most of all, I am convinced and so amazed by advanced 2G ethanol. Yeah, what especially has been already realized in Brazil, and that India is realizing now for several reasons. So number one, you socially develop. It's not just a business or production, but it's socially significant. Yeah, you get business income for farmers in India that is in rural areas that are poor. Yeah, come on, that is fantastic. Number two, and you get also, of course, trained, educated jobs to run such a plant. You need engineers, operators, and so on. That's number one. Number two, the CO2 reduction. Yeah. So in India, you have the chance to reduce the burning of the stubbles, yeah, by using the straw. And everyone in winter who has been in Delhi is going to really appreciate if that is going to develop. That's basically number two. And number three, that's the last point. Number three is you are able to take the waste, organic waste, or a farmer doesn't like to hear waste, residues that you cannot eat, basically. You can turn this into a green fuel, but it's not only fuel. So in the future, you need biogenic CO2. For example, if you want to produce SAF, if you want to produce other green chemicals, you need, and you produce a portfolio of green products besides ethanol that can be used for further technologies. Yeah, so those are basically the 3 points for me. And my heart is very strongly with the ethanol plants in India, as you can hear. So this is where I find it most appealing, and I really hope that is going to realize the next years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Melik. This is my last question. related to VIA SOLUTIS. What are the strategies you are using to increase the visibility of your business? And what is your plan for next 5 years? And where do you see VIA SOLUTIS along with the journey of renewable fuels or low carbon fuels till 2050?
2050, 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So number one is OMCA. OMCA is an important step. Yeah, I hope you yeah, you get me more famous in India. That's number one. Then number two, you only grow if you are consultancy and you support customers to develop their own business, especially in such a complex area. You only convince only by making it possible for them to commercialize their technology, only by developing the first of its kind projects. Yeah, so the track record, that's the most important one. Yeah, I've just done a project in Eastern Europe where I created a supply chain for feedstock over 5, 6 countries. That is extremely challenging and difficult, and that was very successful. And if you create this success, the success will speak for itself. That is the most important part of it. That was number two. Then number three is what is lacking at the moment is that everything is first of its kind. Everything is new for everyone. I said this at least 5 times. So it's all about knowledge. Yeah, you need knowledge. And it's not just engineering knowledge, it's so many disciplines of knowledge that I bring. And I regularly share this knowledge with myself, not only for with my clients and customers, but you can see articles that are very deep, that show a lot of behind the stage, a lot of number. I bring a lot of, and this is how I call it, I bring a lot of insights beyond the obvious. Yeah, beyond what everybody theoretically thinks they know. And most important is you don't know what you don't know. Yeah, so I bring to you what you don't know and what you should know. And those are basically the three things. In 2050, that's a long time. I hope you don't need me anymore. That's it. In 2050, I hope the world has completely changed into a green world, where everything is what is possible is decarbonized. We have a new society, a circular society. The projects are all realized. You drive through India, you see all the different type of hydrogen CEF plants. You see the gas stations have changed and all of this. So I hope you don't need me in 2050.
Yeah.
Not good advertisement, but ethically, it's good. Yeah, I hope so.
Right. Right. So thank you, Melich. Thank you for your time. I wish VIA SOLUTIS big success in upcoming days. That's it from my side.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. That was a pleasure to talk to you, and hope to talk to you soon
Yeah.
again.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Stay tuned for more episodes of Engineering Talks. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.